Your spirit will hate her, the flower who married my brother, the traitor, and you will expose his puppet behavior, for you are the proof of how he betrayed her loyalty. Hush, child, the darkness will rise from the deep and carry you down to sleep. Child, the darkness will rise from the deep and carry you down to sleep. Guileless son, each day you grow older, each moment I'm watching my vengeance unfold. For the child of my body, the flesh of my soul will die in returning the birthright he stole.
Alright, hello there. We are back, looking good for Magnificent Monday tonight. Let us go ahead and begin the festivities and such for Magnificent Monday. Alright, anyway, some fun times last night. Made it to TwitchCon and watched some streams there for the Hunt t-shirt. Wore some Hunt, the merch of course. Scaramucci and all, and got to see my local friend and Dragon Knight Xavier A. So we had some fun with that. Convention Center and the surrounding areas, and it's pretty good fun. So gives you the idea. Gives you a general idea. This one backs some back roads and things, and it's kind of crazy, but anyway. We'll start off with some hunting. I was trying to upload this picture on Discord to get about 40% frame drop. The internet just so slow I can't even upload a picture on stream. But it should level out over here the next few minutes as we get to our reading anyway. We'll pick it up with Dune House Harkonnen, then we'll see what adventures tonight for the time we have. I want to do some errands and things in the morning, so that kind of limits how late I can go tonight, but we'll do our best, you know, make quality over quantity. Might get some Hogwarts, some other adventures. We'll see how it looks. We'll see how it goes. We'll let that frame drop calm down the next few minutes in any case. And that should be just fine. So, let's take a look. See where we left off. On Dune House Harkonnen. And we'll pick it up from there. It should begin. Look forward to chat with you soon about the last week of September here. Yeah, actually a week from today is the last day of September, so enjoy one more magnificent Monday next week. And that will close out September 2024. So far on the leaderboard, thank you Danny Girl for the 10 bits. Alright, we left off. Someday, perhaps, I would like to behold such an interesting place, a world that so affected my father. Back with the Fremen and such. With a loud, booming laugh, Dominic pounded Liette on the back. It was a gesture of camaraderie, though Fremen rarely touched each other, except during knife fights. Pray you never have to, boy, the smuggler leader said. Pray you never have to. We'll pick it up with there for Dune. Gonna go ahead and mute the desktop audio.
Yes, my lord.
Just for more consistent audio experience here for our little music accompaniment tonight. And let's see how that looks for now. Decent. Decent enough. Okay. It's alright, not too big a deal. Featuring Alucard for SUBtember as well. We'll keep him right there, that's fine. Could actually move him up a little bit higher. What is that noise? Birds or something. Keep thinking it's something here, it's just outside. Sounds like distant birds. Alucard up to the top there for now. They're chilling like a villain, getting very excited for that year 2 badge coming soon. I have some good ideas for it. Think maybe a little more Dragon Knight-ish compared to the Dragon Animal for our little Crown Dragon Knight for that 2-year sub badge. So look forward to that soon. For now, if I just have the purple sigil, we clean up the Chillstone a bit. The Royal Hall will hopefully be restored before the end of September. Mainly depends on you, how much you want to see other scenes like that. Alright, let's pick it up from there. Invite for the Toad King. Water is the image of life. We came from water, adapted from its all-encompassing presence, and we continue to adapt. Imperial planetologist Pardo Kynes. Out here, we Fremen have none of your comforts, Lady Fennering, the shout-out Mapes said as she scurried ahead on short legs. Well, so she was already serving even before the main events of Dune. That's interesting. I mean, I guess so. I just don't really know the context of where she was and such. Her steps were so precise and careful that she did not even kick up dust on the moonlit handpan. In contrast with the humid conservatory, the bone-dry night retained very little of the day's heat. You are cold? She glanced back at willowy, blonde-haired Margot, who walked proudly in front of the Ruti priest. Mapes wore her Jubba hood. Stillsuit filters dangled beside her face, and her dark eyes reflected the light of second moon. I am not cold, Margot said simply, wearing only her glitter-slick house dress. She adjusted her metabolism to compensate. And those thin-soled slippers you wear? the priest scolded from behind her. "Unsuited for desert travel. You did not give me time to dress for our journey." Like all Reverend Mothers, she maintained thick calluses on her feet from the fighting exercises they were required to perform each day. "If the shoes wear out, I will go barefoot." Both Fremen smiled at her calm audacity. She does a Bene Gesserit. She does maintain a good pace, Mapes admitted, not like other water-fat Imperials. "I can go faster," Margot offered, "if you like." Taking this as a challenge, the shut-out Mapes trotted along at a military cadence, not breathing hard at all. Margot followed every footstep, barely perspiring. A nightbird streaked overhead with a piercing cry. The unpaved road led out of Arrakeen toward the village of Ruti in the distance, nestled with knuckled foothills of the shield wall. Avoiding the town lights, Mapes turned onto a faint path that climbed into the rocky elevations. Rimwall West loomed before them, a craggy megalith that marked this boundary of the shield wall. The small party began to climb, at first over a gentle slope of rock, then up a steep, narrow path that skirted an immense slide area. The Fremen moved with speed and sure-footedness in the shadows. Despite her training in balance and endurance, Margot tripped twice on the unfamiliar terrain and had to be studied by the others. This seemed to please the guides. More than 2 hours had passed since leaving the comfort and safety of the residency at Arrakeen. Margot began to tap her bodily reserves, but still showed no sign of weakness. Did our lost sisters travel this way? Margot and the priest spoke strange words in a language that Margot's deep memories told her was Chakobza, a tongue spoken by Fremen for dozens of centuries since their arrival on Arrakis. As she recognized one of the shout-out's phrases, Margot responded, "The power of God is indeed great." Her remark agitated the priest, but his short-statured companion smiled wisely. "The Sayadina will speak with her." The path forked several times, and the Fremen women led the way up, then down, or laterally in tight switchbacks before ascending again. Margot identified the same places in the frosty moonlight and realized they were guiding her back and forth in an effort to confuse and disorient her. With her Bene Gesserit mental skills, Margot would remember the way back in exact detail. Impatient and curious, she wanted to scold the Fremen for taking her on such an unnecessarily tedious route, but decided not to reveal her ability. After years of waiting, she was being led into their secret world, into a place where no outsiders were ever taken. Mother Superior Harishka would want to observe every detail. Perhaps Margot would finally acquire the information she had sought for so long. On a ledge, Mapes pressed her chest against the cliff and inched along a narrow path over a sheer drop-off. Clinging with fingertips without hesitation, Margot did the same. The lights of Arrakeen twinkled in the distance, and the village of Ruti huddled far below. Several meters ahead now, Mapes suddenly disappeared into the rock face. Margot discovered a small cave entrance, barely large enough for a person to enter. Inside, the space grew broader to the left, and in the dim light, She saw tool marks on the walls where Fremen had widened the cavern. The dense odors of unwashed bodies touched her nostrils. Ahead, the shadow beckoned. When the priest caught up, Mapes unfastened a door seal and swung a camouflage door inward. Now, unmuffled by seals and doors, voices could be heard, mixed with the hum of machinery and the rustle of many people. Glow globes turned to dim yellow, bobbed in the air currents. Mapes passed through a fabric-covered doorway into a room where women worked power looms, weaving long strands of hair and desert cotton fabrics. The warm air held a heavy human musk, and waftings of melange increase. Incense. All eyes watched the regal, blonde visitor. The weaving room opened into another chamber, where a man tended a metal pot suspended over a cooking fire. Firelight danced on the shadout's wrinkled face and imparted a feral look to her deep blue eyes. Margot observed everything, storing details for her later report. She had never imagined the Fremen could hide such a population, such a settlement. Finally, they emerged into a larger, dirt-floored chamber filled with desert plants, sectioned off by paths. She recognized saguaro, wild alfalfa, creosote, and poverty grasses. An entire botanical testing ground. Wait here, Lady Fenry. Mapes strode ahead, accompanied by the priest. Alone, Margot bent to examine the cacti, saw glossy ears, firm flesh, pale new growth. Somewhere in another cavern, she heard voices and resonating chants. At a slight sound, she looked up to see an ancient woman in a black robe, standing by herself on one of the garden pathways, arms folded over her chest. The strange woman was withered and wiry, as tough as Shiga wire. She wore a necklace of sparkling metal rings, and her dark eyes looked like shadowed pits gouged into her face. Something about her demeanor, her presence, reminded Margot of a Bene Gesserit. On Wallach 9, Mother Superior Harishka was approaching the 2-century mark. But this woman looked even older, her body saturated with space, her skin aged by climate more than years. Even her voice was dry. I am Sayadina Ramallo. We are about to begin the ceremony of the seed. Join us, if you are truly who you say you are. Ramallo, I know that name. Margot stepped forward, ready to cite the secret code phrases to identify her awareness of the Missionera protective work. A woman named Ramallo had disappeared into the dunes a full century ago, the last of a series of Reverend Mothers to vanish. No time for that now, child. The old woman interrupted her. Everyone is waiting. With you among us, they are curious, as I am. Margot followed the Sayadina into a vast cavern that thronged with thousands upon thousands of people. She had never imagined such a huge enclosure within the high rocks. How had they eluded detection from the constant Harkonnen patrols? This wasn't just a squalid settlement, but an entire hidden city. The Fremen had far more secrets and far greater plans than even Hasamir Finring suspected. A wall of unpleasant scents assailed her, crowded close. Some of the Fremen wore dusty cloaks. Others were in still suits, open at the collars within the body humid cave. Off to one side stood the priest who had brought her from Arrakeen. I'm certain they left no sign of our departure from the conservatory. If they mean to kill me now, no one will ever know what happened, just like the other sisters. Then Margot smiled to herself. No, if I am harmed, Hassimir will find them. The Fremen might think their secrets were safe, but even they could be no match for her count, should he focus his efforts and intellect on tracking them down. The Fremen might doubt that, but Margot did not. As the last of the desert people streamed into the cavern from several entrances, Ramallo took Margot's hand in her sinewy grip. Come with me. The withered Sayadina led the way up stone steps to a rock platform, where she faced the crowd. The cavern fell silent except for a rustle of clothes like bat wings. With some trepidation, Margot took a position beside the old woman. I feel like a sacrifice. She used breathing exercises to calm herself. Wave upon wave of impenetrable Fremen eyes stared at her. Shai-Hulud watches over us, Ramallo said. Let the water masters come forward. 4 men made their way through the crowd. Each pair carried a small skin sack between them. They placed the sloshing containers at the feet of the Sayadina. Is there seed? Ramallo asked. There is seed, the men announced in unison. They turned and departed. There is seed. Opening the top of one of the sacks, Ramallo splashed liquid onto both hands. Blessed is the water and its seed. She brought her hands out, trickling blue fluid as if the droplets were liquid sapphires. The words and the ceremony startled Margot, for they resembled the Bene Gesserit poison ordeal through which a sister was transformed into a reverend mother. A few chemicals, all deadly poisons, could be used to induce the terrible agony and mental crisis upon a sister. Adapted from the Missionera Protectiva, had the vanished Bene Gesserit brought even this secret to the Fremen? If so, what else did the desert people know about the Sisterhood's plans? Ramallo unfastened the sack's coiled spout and pointed its end toward Margot. Showing no glimmer of doubt, Margot dropped to her knees and took the tube in her hands, then hesitated. If you are truly a Reverend Mother, Ramallo whispered, you will drink this exhalation of Shai-Hulud without harm to yourself. I am a Reverend Mother, Margot said. I have done this before. The Fremen maintained their deep, reverent silence. You have never done this before, child, the old woman said. Shai-Hulud will judge you. The sack reeked of familiar spice odor, but with an underlying bitterness. The acrid blue liquid seemed to roil with death. Though she had passed the agony to become a Reverend Mother, Margot had nearly died in the process. But she could do it again. Beside her, the Sayadina uncoiled the drinking tube on the second sack. She took a sip from the tube, and her eyes rolled back in her head. I must not fear, Margot thought. Fear is the mind killer. In her mind, she recited the entire litany against fear, then sucked on the straw, drawing in just a drop. The barest bit of moisture touching the tip of her tongue. It struck her with a shockingly vile taste, like a hammer, all the way to the back of her skull. Poison. Her body recoiled, but she forced herself to concentrate on her own chemistry, altered a molecule here, added or subtracted a radical there. It required all of her skills. Margot released the tube. Her consciousness floated, and time stopped its eternal cosmic progression. She let her body, her trained Bene Gesserit abilities, take over and began to alter the chemistry of the deadly poison. Margot understood what she had to do, breaking the chemical down into something useful, creating a catalyst that would transform the rest of the liquid in the sacks. The taste changed to sweetness in her mouth. Every action she had taken up to that point in her life lay spread like a tapestry for her to observe. Sister Margot Rashinozia, now Lady Finring, examined herself in minute detail. Every cell of her body, every nerve fiber, every thought she'd ever experienced, deep in her core, Margot found that terrible dark place she could never see, the place that fascinated and terrified all her kind. All of her kind. Only the long-anticipated Kwisatz Haderach could look there. The Lisan al-Gaib. I will survive this, she told herself. Margot's head reverberated as if a gong had been struck inside it. She saw a distorted image of Sayadina Ramallo wavering in front of her. Then one of the water masters came forward and pressed the tip of the tube into Margot's mouth, collecting the drop of transformed liquid, which he then dipped into the contents of the sack. Beside her, the ancient woman released her grip on the second tube, and other water masters spread the transformed poison from one container to another, like fire starters touching flaming brands to a field of dry grass. People thronged to the sacks to receive droplets of the catalyzed drug, brushing the moistness against their lips. Ramallo said, somewhere in Margot's consciousness, you have helped make it possible for them. Strange. This was so different from anything in her experience, but not so different after all. Slowly, like a dreamer dancing inside her own consciousness, Margot felt herself return to the stone-walled chamber, with a drug-induced vision only a flickering memory. Fremen continued to touch their fingers to the hanging droplets, tasting, moving to the side so that others could partake. Euphoria spread like dawnlight in the cavern. Yes, once I was a Reverend Mother, Ramallo told her. At long last, many years ago, I knew your Mother Superior. Still fogged by reverberations of the powerful drug, Margot couldn't even act shocked, and the old woman nodded. Sister Harishka and I were classmates, long ago. I joined the Missionera Protectiva and was sent here with 9 other Reverend Mothers. Many of our order had been lost before, absorbed into the Fremen tribes. Others simply died in the desert. I am the last. It is a harsh life on Dune, even for a trained Bene Gesserit, even with melange, which we have come to understand and appreciate in new ways. Margot looked deeply into Ramallo's eyes and saw understanding there. Your message spoke of the Lisan al-Gaib, Ramallo said, her voice quavering. He is close, is he not? After these thousands of years? Margot kept her voice low as the Fremen became wilder with the ecstasy of their ritual. We hope within 2 generations. These people have waited a long time. The Sayadina surveyed the euphoria in the room. I can reveal Bene Gesserit matters to you, child, but I have a dual allegiance. I am also a Fremen now, sworn to uphold the values of the desert tribes. Certain confidences cannot be revealed to any outworlder. One day I must choose a successor, one of the women here, no doubt. Ramallo bowed her head. The Siege Tau orgy is a merging point of Bene Gesserit and Fremen. Long before the Missionera Protectiva arrived here, these people had discovered how to partake of the awareness spectrum, narcotic in primitive, simple ways. In the shadows of the great chamber, the Fremen moved apart and together, fogged with a drug, some raised to an inner peace and ecstasy, some driven to members of the opposite sex in frenzied coupling. A sloppily painted canvas of reality settled over them, turning their harsh lives into a dream image. Over the centuries, sisters like myself guided them to follow new ceremonies, and we adapted the old Fremen ways to our own. You've accomplished a great deal here, Mother, while Og9 will be eager to learn of it. While the Fremen orgy continued, Margot felt as if she were floating numb and separate from it all. The ancient woman raised a claw-like hand in benediction to release her back into the outside world. Go and report to Harishka. Romallo displayed a wispy smile, and give her this gift. She removed a small bound book from a pocket of her robe. Opening the volume, Margot read the title page, Manual of the Friendly Desert. Beneath that, in smaller letters, it read, The Place Full of Life. Here at the Ayat and Burhan of Life. Believe, and Al-Lat shall never burn you. This is like the Azara book, Margot exclaimed, surprised to see an edition adapted to Fremen ways. Our book of great secrets. Give my sacred copy to Harishka. It will please her. Right. Awed now by her presence, the Ruti priest took Margot back to the residency at Arrakeen. She arrived shortly before dawn, just as the sky began to pale into soft orange pastels, and slipped into her bed. No one in the household, other than the shut-out Mapes, knew she had ever gone. Excited, she lay awake for hours. Several days later, her head full of questions, Margot climbed the trail back to the cave, following her crystal-clear memory map. In bright sunlight, she traversed the steep trail into Rimwall West, made her way across the narrow ledge to the opening of the Sietch. The heat slowed her. Slipping inside the cool cave shadows, she found that the door seal had been removed. She walked through the chambers, finding them empty. No machinery, no furnishings, no people. No proof, only odors lingered. So you don't entirely trust me after all, Sayadina, she said aloud. For a long while, Margot remained in the cavern where the Tau orgy had taken place. She knelt where she had consumed the water of life, feeling the echoes of long habitation there, all gone now. The next day, Count Hasimir Finring returned from his desert inspection with the Baron Harkonnen. At dinner, basking in her presence, he asked his lovely wife what she had done in his absence. "Oh, nothing, my love," she responded with a carefree toss of her honey gold hair. She brushed her lips across his cheek in a tender kiss. "I just tended my garden." How about that? Alright, hope you enjoyed today's reading of Dune House Harkonnen. Welcome to Lurker, hope you're doing well. Just gonna get to one quick screenshot for 4/9 such for our 1500 stream celebration coming up. Since got to go Diamond 3 today, so I went to find that real quick. Finally got my first win. It's been really hard with the new Iron Man type of mythics added, so dealing with that lately. Let me just find that screenshot from today. Should have a decent showcase victory before we ask, among several other things though, a Diamond 3 and victory. Pretty intense. Yeah, I guess that's good enough. I'll just get this one. Save that for later for the 1500 screenshots. Right now I just have a few in there, a couple wins, couple stories for them. I'm gonna add hunt and other things too. Really annoying. Last hunt I played before TwitchCon, I guess it was, yeah, Saturday night. I had a funny Soul Survivor. Actually, person reacted. I actually turned on the instant replay because of her, but they reacted to me saying at the very end, the standoff where I did win the Soul Survivor, they were just laughing, thought it was funny. Said GG. I said, oh, at least you didn't pick the blue bandana basic hunter that everyone picks. And another time after Soul Survivor winner such, I played a bounty hunt, and there's a Hellborn right near me right away, and the trio, as solo versus trio, they killed it, and I did close Chrome, that's right. And they basically chased me down across the whole map just to kill me as a solo, and I killed 2 out of 3 of them, but it's still really ridiculous, so things like that lately. But I'll get you some screenshots here and there for our 1500 stream coming up before too long. Let's see our current count there. Yeah, we have the 1250 celebration. Now we're past 1300. See about that later. Welcome to Lurker. Hope to chat with you very soon. Everything else looking good despite other Discord people. But for now, first adventure. We had fun with Henry Stickmin last time. We couldn't read the bios for some reason. Let me check this out. We've got a few things uninstalled, a few things I haven't played in a bit. I did reinstall Phasma. Okay, I thought I installed it for some reason. I just haven't played it since May of last year. We actually could play Phasma anytime, so that's good. Maybe we'll come back to that other friends or such. But for now, how about Return to Hogwarts? Good enough time for that as any time. Let's play that in June. It's been a good 3 months. Finished with the Hufflepuff, but I might as well finish out with Slytherin so we can uninstall it. And right after I finished with Hufflepuff, they had a summer update, so I haven't played since then, since June. But apparently they had to do quests and other content and stuff, so let's check that out just for a few minutes here and see how it looks. Well, at least a few minutes, might go longer, depending, but we'll check it out in any case. Should be alright. Let's see. It's kind of big display capture. We'll switch it on out. It'll be fine. Yeah, the shades have to load to the always loads the shading, yeah, the shaders, something like that. That always needs to load too. Fix the sound for that. It's kind of pointless without sound. See how the update looks though. Been a while. Summer update. And frame drops leveled up pretty nicely, so that is good. That's definitely good as well. Okay, check it out. Yeah, back to Noble Team. Halo soon. We'll probably go Halo Combat Evolved, but I was thinking of the dual wield was such a game changer, so yeah, I'll do a little Halo Combat Evolved, but Halo Reach and Halo Evolve. Well, Halo, the first one didn't have an energy sword. Halo Reach somewhat did, but still no dual wielding, just other kind of unique weapons like the Spartan laser and the spike gun and such. And the modules were interesting, like the little character modules that definitely added some interaction. That's some like replayability, some choices for at least your, you know, your suit module, whatever that was called, suit power. pretty fun. But yeah, we'll probably be back to play them in order, and then we'll eventually replay and go for the achievements or possibly some legendary runs, but that'll take some patience. Or rather play other things for the first time, you know. So we have a lot on deck, and some story mode things are better than others. You want to get to Witcher and things like that we've taken a long break from. Want to get to DLCs and things at some point too. Yeah, my hottest day today's still in the 80s, so save those headphones for first chatter, like, well, most of the time. Give this a chance to load. Error occurred while it caused Streamlabs.